For this capsule, we're going to be talking about how to submit an artist file, and Ellen and I are going to be going through some of the most frequently asked questions that we receive regarding submitting a file in the collection. Now, we're going to be talking specifically about artist files, but these rules that we're going to talk about apply also to submitting a file on an arts organization or for an art historian or an art curator.
So Jessica, tell me, is there an application process to submit an artist file or a jury?
No, it's actually a lot simpler than that. It's the librarians here that receive the documents and decide whether it goes into the collection, and it's very, very inclusive, the process. So basically, in order to submit an artist file, you have to have produced documentation in the context of a professional practice. So that means you have to have produced documentation of from the kinds of organizations that are present in the collection, like museums, galleries, or artist-run centers. So have presented exhibitions, participated in festivals, or have participated in publishing projects like created artist books or zines. We really want to have as many artist files as possible and represent really a diversity of practices.
Do you have a bit more examples about what types of documents that you accept?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, really important to note that these are public documents, so documentations that have been made available to the public. We're not going to keep internal documents, so we don't accept things like sketchbooks or grant applications or agendas. The documentation that we collect is documentations that have been public. So for example, this is an example of an artist file that we received, and this is really common. You receive things in a pile like this, and then we go through it and sort it and then treat it in the collection. So a lot of the things we'll find are publications as well as ephemera. So here's an example of a publication. This is an artist book here, produced by the artist in a limited edition. We also have invitation cards. So this is an example of ephemera that we have. Invitation cards for exhibitions. This is the artist is a photographer, so these are a lot of photography exhibitions. We have other invitations here, press releases. Really common that we'll find leaflets in connection to exhibitions or projects that the artist has done, and these are really great if they have a curatorial text. So we have more ephemera here, and this is really great. We love to receive artist CVs. These are really valuable to researchers who want to really know what are all the projects that an artist has participated in. So we have an example of an artist CV. Here we have a newspaper article talking about the artist's exhibition. This example, often what we'll do is we'll make a photocopy of it, and then we'll give the original back to the artist because newsprint doesn't preserve very well. So we have other different kinds of documents and publications, another exhibition document, as well as periodical articles as well.
Interesting. So what if I have a lot of documentation?
So it's really important to make a selection of what is most representative of your work and what's going to be most valuable to researchers. So in our text collection, we have over 8,000 artist files, but we're actually a pretty small space and it's limited. So we really want to have things that most represent your work. So for example, if you have multiple different types of documentation about a specific artwork or exhibition, it's important to choose something that is most representative or most important. Also, it's really important to note that we keep one copy of everything. So for publications and even ephemera, it's only really necessary to bring one copy.
And what about digital documents?
Yeah, you can submit digital documents via email. I also want to point out we have a very detailed guide to submitting an artist file, which is available on our website, or anyone can write to us and we'll send it directly to them. So we have a guide of types of documentation to submit, the process, as well as our information. And on the back, we have a guideline of how to submit digital documents. So there's a lot more detailed information available here.
And when should I be submitting documents? Should I wait? Should I wait a few years?
So it's whenever you're comfortable and you've made a selection and you want to make them available to the public for research purposes. So even if you're an emerging artist, and we encourage you if you're an emerging artist, if you have, like I mentioned, documentation in the context of a professional practice, even if it's just a few documents, you can submit them. And it's going to be important to also continue to submit documentation as you produce it over the course of your career. We have a lot of different artists that will submit things once a year or once every couple of years to keep their artist files up to date.
Jessica, why is it so important? I mean, everything is on the internet now.
A lot of information is on the internet. It's a great tool for research, but a lot of the information that's on the internet now is not going to be on the internet forever. So having an artist file is a really good complement to what is already available on the web, and it's going to ensure a long-term preservation of that work. So having it available in the collection makes it available in a research context. It also places it within the context of the larger collection, in the context of a contemporary art history, having it alongside other artists' files. So it's really good for preservation, and it's really good for dissemination as well, and understanding. So I want to just say in closing that the reason we make this capsule is because we want it to be as clear as possible for artists who are unsure about whether they should or can submit documentation, as the answer is probably yes, you can. And if you're unsure, we encourage you to contact us. We really want to have as many artist files as possible, and our policy is really to be as inclusive as we can. So please contact us if you have any questions about how to submit documentation of your work.